What's up, everybody? My name is Dennis. Let's break down the single Pain. Here we go.
I walked down to the lake last night and I screamed my lungs out. I've had doubts about the way my mind never seems to calm down. I won't lie, I'ma take my time. But when you need me, don't shout. I've gone fine, now share me how I feel. Now I'ma breathe it all out. 'Cause I've got it, yeah. Grew up with no one to trust. Sat and learned to run bars on the bus. No one used to be calling me up. Was 11 and saw what it was. Life's a blessing, but falling in love is tough. Because I've got faith, yeah. In the way it would get on my nerves. In the night I would feel it the worst. Got these tears on my shirt, yeah. Doesn't cease to get up in my way. Honestly, I got nothing to say, but I'm ready up to the mountainside. And I cried my eyes out. I can't love. She said it sounded like you never tried to wind out. I've been judged more than 1,000 times. So when you're kind, I got mine down. Staying up too many countless nights. Now I'm write it all out. I've got faith, yeah. I've been kicked up and punched till I get up. It's making me fed up, so I focus on making the cheddar. I got pain that's insane, I don't let up. Ain't been feeling the same, still it ain't better. See my pain and changes states with the weather. Whenever it rains, I get stains on my sweater. Waves in my head and it makes me remember all those days through a pain in November. But do that even mean I got a temper? Is she the queen to my king like Coretta? See when I dream, got these things in my mental. That's why I sing, rap these things with a pencil. And my friends bring the love is essential. Yet again I got this pain, I'm resentful. I've got pain. I've got pain. I've got pain. And that's why I know that you won't stay.
All right, let's break it down. So we're starting with a vocal preverb, I like to call these, which is just the starting note of the vocal reversed, as you can see right here, with a bunch of reverb on it. I use Valhalla Supermassive and I use the Dark Matter preset, and then basically I use volume automation, and I keep the original sample closed and then I gradually open it up as we go. So let's see how that looks. So as you can hear, that is Zay's vocal. It's the same note that he starts on, so it creates a smooth transition into the song.
I'll walk down to the...
And the idea is to kind of catch the first note with that vocal preverb. Secondly, the most important thing in this song is, I think, the electric guitar. It's a minor blues. We have my original pedal board on it. With just a little bit of reverb, the FabFilter Pro R. And that's also how we came up with the idea. So this is the original thing that I sent to Zay. So that's how it all began. Then I added some synth layers on top. We've got this cool synth that I've had for a bit now. It's called the OP6. It's made by Korg, and it's a beautiful piece of gear. It's got some really nice organ sounds in it, so let's see if we can listen to those by themselves. just the minor chord, then a minor 9, and then the 5. We've got this little arpeggio outlining the chords too. Now, in addition to that Korg sound, I also really like the contact organ. So I put this in here for a little bit of extra texture, and I added the ring shift plugin, which sounds pretty cool. Let's listen to that by itself. So the default patch already has that typical organ panning, but the ring shift plugin really emphasizes that. So let's listen to it without the ring shift and then with the ring shift. And now with. Kind of gives it a swirly essence in a way. Lastly, I have some felt piano. Originally this was actually a Contact patch, which I don't have access to anymore because Contact 7 came out, and who's got money for Contact 7? So I just used a Keyscape felt instead for this video. So here's all the keys together. Now above the keys we've got a string section, and this was actually later played by the string quartet Formas, which is an amazing string quartet. But let's listen to the strings by themselves. So it's essentially a similar layer to what we have in the keys. We've got the chords played by individual instruments, and then we've got that little pizzicato line on top, same as what we did with the arpeggiated synth. Now we have one more instrument in here, in addition to the guitar, the strings, and the keys, which is the duduk. And this is one of the instruments that I love to put into most of my productions. And it's an Armenian flute. It's the predecessor of the oboe, and I've got it right here. It's a double reed instrument, so we've got two pieces of reed on top of each other. Let's see if I can make that focus. There we go. So it's a double reed. It opens up, and basically the vibrations that you make will translate into air, and then it will make a beautiful, almost sine wavy kind of sound. So let's see if I can play it for you guys. And as you can hear, I'm able to bend notes with my embouchure, which adds another dimension to the song, especially because the song is about pain, it's about grief, it's about depression. And so microtones are a very important part of expressing an emotion. So love to throw that in there as a sort of background element that is actually pretty well audible. I tend to drench it in reverb just because it sounds really beautiful, really emotional. So let's see if we can listen to it together. So that's just a little line that's behind everything else. Let's listen to it in context.
No sound I've had down.
You can really hear the air there too. In addition to that, we've got a couple of effects here that I added to kind of support the vocals in a way.
and I scream my lungs out. I've had doubts about the way my mind never seems to calm down. I want.
So the first effect that we've got is the word scream. I wanted to emphasize that and put more meaning into it. So I copied it, I put tape delay on it and ring shift so that it wouldn't be too in your face like ad-libs usually are, but it would kind of drift and linger after he sings it. So let's listen to that by itself. And now in context.
Late last night, and I screamed my lungs out.
So as you can see, it kind of like gets emphasized and repeated and louder as it goes. So I did a similar thing on the line, "My mind never seems to calm down," because it's such a strong line and I wanted to really emphasize that. So I put some whispering effects and like this distortion, and I wanted to make sure that it was felt, that there was like the audio was accompanying the vocal. So let's listen to that by itself first. So there's a lot going on there. First of all, I have the whispers an octave down as well as an octave up because I wanted to make it sound a little bit like it wasn't your own voice, it wasn't a human voice, it's something within your brain that's talking to you. So as you can tell, it almost sounds unnatural. It sounds like something, something's creeping in. It's like an unwelcome thought. Then I did the vocal preverb again. I used the Valhalla Supermassive just to like create that echo of Zay's voice in addition to the vocals. So there's that touch of humanness, and all of this is automated to basically increase in volume as it goes to lead up to that drop, that cut after he delivers the line. I added a couple of risers just to kind of create that impact moment upon delivering the line. The voices, they take over, and then suddenly everything cuts out and we get the introduction of the beat. So as you can see, I'm cutting everything off on bar 9, and then we've got the kick and the sub coming in. So let's look at that while we play it.
Down, about the way my mind never seems to calm down. I won't lie, I'm gonna take my time.
And I wanted to create that stark contrast between the voices in his mind and then it snapping back into reality.
Down, about the way my mind never seems to calm down. I won't lie, I'm gonna take my time, but when you need me.
So here we've got the kick and the 808 coming in. We've also got a snare, and we have this introduction of another piano line that's basically an arpeggiated chord. So until there, everything is the same except for the introduction of the rhythm and that little line.
I'm gonna take my time, but when you need me, don't shout. I've gone fine, now shimmy how I feel. Now I'ma breathe it all out.
So for the next part, I wanted to create a real break between sections and really change momentum. So I have a bunch of risers going into what is essentially a huge cutout. Everything is going away. We're making space for just one synth, and then we're switching up the vibe completely. We're kind of turning the song around. So we've got all of these risers going up.
Breathe it all out, 'cause I've got it.
Then we have the rhythmic synth, and then we've got the chorus coming in. So let's listen to that.
Now I feel, now I'ma breathe it all out. 'Cause I've got pain, yeah. Go up with no.
Now that break I created with Serum, which is a digital synth, and I made this growl, this dubstep growl from scratch, and I can show you guys how I did it. Let's listen to it by itself, and then we'll break it down. Alright, so let's start by creating a MIDI region, and we'll add our note, and we'll load up Serum right here, and we're going to start with a basic sawtooth wave right here. So let's first start by looking at this sawtooth wave. We have no wavetable, so if we play this sound, if we play this note that we just made, we're going to hear just this waveform repeated. Just a plain sawtooth wave. Now let's see if we can change that. So we're going to add a couple of voices. I'm going to say 9 voices. We're going to detune them just a bit. I'm going to make them blend a little bit better together so every voice is the same level. And now let's listen to that. So as you can hear, we've got 9 voices and they're slightly detuned from each other. Now we want to continue with this sound. So let's see if we can lock this in place. We'll resample to oscillator A, which means that the sound we just created is going to be our new waveform. So as you can see, we just got a new waveform that we made from scratch, and it is now a wavetable, so we can move through our different waveforms that we just created to hear the sound. So let's play this. So as you can hear, that's that detuned sound that we just created, and it's now part of a wavetable. So we are actually going to resample again, and we're going to do that a few times. There we go. I think this is good enough. So now, as you can see, we've got quite a couple of complex waveforms that we can work with. Now next up, we're going to create that classic growl sound, which is like that opening sound. Alright, so we're going to start by making our first LFO, that stands for low frequency oscillator, and we're going to create a slope with a high attack so that we move through a bunch of waveforms at once and then we slow down. Now the cool thing about Serum is that we can attribute these LFOs to different parameters. So if I drag this over, I can tag it and tie it to my wavetable position, which means that now my LFO will determine the speed at which we go through our waveforms. So let me show you what that looks like. We're going to start at 1, which is 0 here, or 1, I should say, wavetable position 1. And I'm going to play the sound. I have the speed at 1 bar, so the LFO takes 1 bar to complete. And we're going to see what it does to our wavetable. So as you can see, it goes up. Once it reaches the top, it pauses. Now in this window below, we have the speed attributes for the LFO. So we can change the speed of the LFO. We can sync it to our BPM. We can have it go in triplets. We can trigger it when the node is triggered. So I'm going to set this to 1 bar. And I'm also going to enable my sub, which I'm going to set at 2 octaves below our main waveform. There we go. Now next up, let's beef up this sound. So we're going to go into FX. We're going to add some hyper/dimension. This is basically like a phasing plugin. And we have the option to detune our phase, to add voices, and now we're also going to add some distortion. So I'm going to put this filter all the way up, because I want to filter with my actual filter and not with this effect. I'm going to select the diode 1. I just really like the way that sounds. It's very overdriven and very heavy. There we go. That sounds good. I'm also going to add a little bit of chorus because I like the way that it spreads out our sound. Beautiful. All right, now last up is our cutoff filter. So we basically want to make sure that our filter moves along with the wavetable. So let's see if we can also attribute our LFO that we tied to the wavetable. And as you can hear, that is now synced up with our wavetable LFO. Now I'm missing a little bit of the high end, so I'm actually going to open this a little bit further. And now you can hear that it goes all the way. Now to sync it to the track, I actually created another LFO that I made function like an envelope. And the reason why I did it as an LFO is because we have more tempo control in our little menu over here. So I put this to triplet so that it syncs up with the timing of the song. I created a very fast attack and pretty much no release so that it would function like a gate. And then I selected it to be both on the level of the sub bass and the level of the oscillator. Now, one cool thing to note is that once we move our LFO to a certain parameter, we get this blue circle, and this blue circle basically indicates how far we let our LFO modulate the parameter. So right now I've got it set to halfway, which means that once my LFO reaches all the way up to the top, it will reach all the way up to this blue circle, but it won't go any further. So we can basically cap how far we want the knob to be open. So let's listen to this together. And there you have it. That's a full growl. Now, another cool thing that I did with my patch is I went over to the matrix window and I assigned LFO3 to my master tuner, which means that we can control the pitch with our LFO. So as you can see, my LFO is going down, but because I've selected a negative on this menu, it will actually go up. So let's listen to that. Now, you can't really hear that it's going up too much. I didn't want the effect to be too drastic, but just to show you, I'll make the effect more instant and then you can hear that it's going up. So that's controlled by this parameter over here, and you can basically assign any parameter to any LFO to control whatever you want. All right, let's move into the chorus.
Grew up with no one to trust. Sat and learned to run bars on the bus. No one used to be calling me up. Was 11 and saw what it was. Life's a blessing, but falling in love is tough because I've got faith. In the way it would get on my nerves. In the night I would feel it the worst. Got these tears on my shirt, doesn't cease to get up in my way. Honestly, I got nothing to say, but
So overall, instrumentation wise, the chorus is pretty similar to the verse. However, in terms of rhythm, we added quite a bit of elements. So let's look at those first. So first of all, we have this kind of stick echo. It's almost like someone is smashing a stick against something. It's a very cool sound effect. Then we've got these Afrobeat drums. A shaker. And we've got our kicks and snares. Next up, I also tried to play with some reverse stuff. So I added a couple of reverses to my pianos and guitars, which is pretty cool. Let's listen to that together. So in context, that's going to sound like this.
Wasn't loving the show what it was. Life's a blessing, but falling in love is tough because I've got faith.
Now, one of the goals that I wanted to achieve in this song is creating momentum. So having the feeling like everything is moving along, even though the form itself is just a blues. It repeats, it's repetitive. And one of the ways that I sought to achieve that is through reversing, creating breaks, having elements taken away, stripping it down, and then adding everything at once. So let's see how I did that.
Wasn't loving the show what it was. Life's a blessing, but falling in love is tough because I've got faith.
So basically, I took all of the elements out right before beat one. We've got no synths playing. We took the guitar out, and right before I did that, I reversed a couple of samples. So that's one of the pianos. I reversed that chord and basically created that space there. Secondly, we've got a couple of reverses, like risers that I used, and they hit at the same time as the reverse. Which basically creates that immediate stop.
Life's a blessing, but falling in love is tough because I've got faith. Yeah, in the way it would get on my nerves. In the night I would feel it the worst. Got these tears on my shirt, yeah. Doesn't cease to get up in my way. Honestly, I got nothing to say, but I'm ready.
Now, in order to change up the harmonic progression in the song and not have it be a conventional minor blues the whole time around, we added some tritone subs in here to kind of spice up the blues form.
Doesn't cease to get up in my way. Honestly, I got nothing to say, but I'm ready.
And I added a little bit of tremolo to this so that I would create that same sense of movement as I did with the growl that you heard earlier.
I got nothing to say, but
just to create that idea of motion, to keep the continuity. I like to put similar effects in different places so that you have a sense of familiarity and that something is not completely randomly thrown in somewhere. Let's move on to verse 2. Now, this is where we really want to beef up the production. I added a choir. This is by D.N.T. It's in my contact library, but the plugin developers are D.N.T. And we basically have them saying, let's see, Que Laura. So let's listen to that by itself. Secondly, we have our duduk playing lines in the background. And lastly, the big change between chorus 1 and verse 2 is the guitar solo. I wanted to make sure that we were hitting everything extremely strong, so I added layers and layers of guitar to beef up the production here. And so right there we've got 3 guitars playing just the fastest tremolo that I could play. And for this I used the Archetype Tim Henson plugin. This is a really good plugin to use if you want like that overdriven, really crazy gainy sound. And lastly, I put on a tremolo effect and synced it up with our growl so that it would match exactly the tempo. All right. Let's listen to everything together.
So when you're kind, I got mine down. Staying down. So many countless nights. Now I'm write it all out. I've got faith. Yeah. I've been kicked up and punched till I get up. It's making me fed up. So I focus on making the cheddar. I got pain that's insane, I don't let up. Ain't been feeling the same, still it ain't better. See my pain and changes states with the weather. Whenever it rains, I get stains on my sweater. Waves in my head and it makes me remember all those days through a pain in November. But do that even mean I got a temper? Is she the queen to my king like a Coretta? See when I dream, got these things in my mental. That's why I sing, rap these things with a pencil. And my friends bring the love is essential. Yeah, again I got this pain, I'm resentful.
Alright, so last up we've got chorus 2, which is the climax of the song. I tried to emphasize this section by basically putting an extremely emotional guitar solo underneath Zay's vocals. Let's listen to that by itself. Now, in addition to that, I also added a choir that I automated the velocity from so that it would be less robotic. Basically what you can do is you can create a MIDI track, insert your notes, and then automate with, rather than read, you do latch, and you change the parameters while you have that enabled and play the song. So let's listen to that by itself. And it's basically playing Zay's piano part, which is right here.
See my pain and changes states with the weather. Whenever it rains, I get stains on my sweater. Waves in my head and it makes me remember all those days through a pain in November. But do that even mean I got a temper? Is she the queen to my king like a Coretta? See when I dream, got these things in my mental. That's why I sing, rap these things with a pencil. And my friends bring the love is essential. Yeah, again I got this pain, I'm resentful.
Now, coming down from a climax like that and creating an outro can be difficult sometimes. So one of the tricks that I use is immediately after a section like that, I take out the bass, the 808. So as you can see here, we've got it playing, and then as soon as we hit the outro, I take it out completely, which is subtle enough to where you can get away with it if you don't take any of the rhythmical elements away. So let's listen to that.
Friends, really love is essential. Yet again, I got this pain, I'm resentful.
So we still got the kick hitting there, but you're not getting that deep fundamental bass that's keeping the song at that high level. Next up, I like to fade out elements piece by piece. So as you can see, I've got the organ still playing here, and I'm gradually moving that out. So I basically fade it out in volume 2 so that you don't really hear that it's going away. You just kind of hear the song stripping down as it goes. There goes organ. Now, another really effective trick to lower the energy of your track is to have a telephone-like EQ on your harmonic instruments so that you just leave space for the vocal. Now, this is only effective after you already took down a lot of level from other things. So I only suggest doing this after you've taken the drums away, after you take the percussion away, and basically you can get away with sounds like this. So let's now look at all of that in context.
Things in my mental, that's why I sing, rap these things with a pencil. And my friends bring the love is essential. Yet again, I got this pain, I'm resentful. I'm and that's why I know that you won't stay.
And then we've got those voices coming in one more time as we get that final line. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was Pain. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next one.